Hello. So this is an AI resume analyzer. So this is the code. It's a very simple code. It's very straightforward. So we're using Ollama to run the AI we're using for this particular code. So if you are familiar with Ollama, you will know that you can run Ollama locally. And so let me quickly show you how the code works. So let me stop it here and then. So this is it. AI resume analyzer. Upload your resume and get a summary, key skill, key and improvement suggestions. So when you upload your resume, let me upload this. This is an Android developer. It will quickly bring out a sample of your resume that you uploaded. And then when you click on analyze resume, remember, just like I said, while you're running this on Ollama and it's running locally, so it's going to be a bit slow. So we just have to wait. And but if you want your work in case of when you want to deploy, you could always use the OpenAI APIs so that you can get a faster. You also have access to beta modules because I'm currently running a 3B module. So with the OpenAI APIs, you can run up to 120B modules, which will give you far more better analysis. But this one that we are currently using is doing quite well. So let's wait for it to analyze, then we will compare the results together. So here we go. It's done analyzing. So you can see that the basic information, the name is Robert Smith, which is what we have here. You look at it from here. The email address, sorry. This is the email address. And then we also have the phone number, which he gave us, the address of the person, which is also here, then social media handle, his LinkedIn, which he provided here. So he also gave us a short summary. There was a short summary about this person, this resume. It says a highly experienced Android developer with over 6 years of IT industrial experience, blah blah blah, which is actually from the resume. If you look at it, person wrote here in his objective over 6 years of in IT industrial experience with plus 4+ years of experience with as a mobile application developer in the field of Android and so on and so forth. If you look here, it gave us his key skills. It said programming language, you can program in Python, Java, C, JavaScript, MATLAB, and R. If you look very closely here, you see that he analyzed that correctly. Now he also was able to extract other skills that this individual has from his experiences and other things he wrote here. See that he uses Ellipse IDE, Android Studio, so on and so forth, some development tools and all those things. He also showed us the frameworks that this person has worked with, brought out everything from here. If you look at it from here, I think he said he created new UI screens and blah 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 blah. So this is just the key skills that the AI resume was able to provide. Then he also gave some improvement suggestion. He said consider adding a professional summary and objective statements that highlight your unique value, proposition, and career goals. He said the format of the work experience section could be improved by using bullet points to break down large blocks of text and making it easier to scan. That means to look through or to scan through or whatever things like that. Those of us who are into HR stuff will understand better what he's saying. So he said, consider adding more specific details about your achievements, such as metrics or awards, to demonstrate the impact of your work. And he also gave the last one, the educational section is brief and does not provide much context. Consider adding a brief description of your educational background and relevant coursework. So he also scored him. So in the aspect of skills, out of 30 points, he gave him 22. and he gave the reason, his strengths and his weakness. He gave it explicitly stated it. The experience and achievement out of 30 gave him 25. He still stated his strengths and weakness, and clarity and formality out of 20 gave him 16. Overall impression out of 20 gave him 18. So if you also want to visualize what you have with the breakdown of his resume, you can also do that. You have the options of changing the way you view them in tabular form. You have the option of seeing the categories, the score, you edit what you want to see. Then can do it. Sorry. So you have the option of seeing it this way or in a tabular form. So these are basically the two options. You can download it as a CSV file, or you can look for something in the sheet. So depending on the way you want to see it, may I prefer seeing it in the bar chart form. So this is the overall score in just like a progressive bar stuff. So let's analyze another resume. Let's analyze another one. So this is another resume of a co-founder and a data scientist, and he has a lot of things to say about his resume. So let's see what our AI resume analyzer has to say about this. Okay, so it's done analyzing. So here is the analysis of this resume. Give us the person's name, which we have here, the email address, which we have here, the phone number. They said not provided, so probably the AI didn't understand that this was a phone number. So probably it's because of the way the person just mumbled it in this place. So, however, if you can see it, the address, it just wrote India. So I guess maybe that probably that's why I felt that this is not a valid address. Gave us his social media handles. We have the LinkedIn, which is also, you can see up here, the LinkedIn address. You can see the LinkedIn address. Then you could also see that it provided us with a short summary about the person. It said a highly skilled data scientist and entrepreneur with 7+ years experience, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Now said his key skills. Wow, this person has a lot of skills. So if we go through his resume, okay, this is the skill. This is where I extracted the skills from. So you can see the skills, and I also believe that it was able to extract some other skills that was not probably mentioned. Then we also have the it also gave us improvement suggestions, told us what it could improve. It scored the person, and finally the the visual, the visual uh, display of the code. I mean, of what it's resulted or what it gave the person. So quickly, we're going to jump into the code now. Let me show you how this whole AI resume came into play. How you can also do yours if you want to. But before we jump into the code, I just want to show you one more resume. It's not actually a resume. It's just a code that I used for in my company to automatically generate receipts from our sales spreadsheet. So let's analyze it. Let's see what our AI did. All right, so this is the result set. I can analyze the provided HTML document. So what Wesley told us is a HTML document and extract information from it. However, I must point out that this is not a traditional resume, but rather a sales receipt template, embedded JavaScript code. So you see, it actually told us that it's not a resume. So you can actually extracted wow, basic informations and here was this not available. Short description not applicable as this is not a traditional resume. Now said key skills. Based on the code, it appears that the individual has a skill in HTML or CSS programming, JavaScript, specifically Google App Script, PHP. So I think it actually got it because it was actually for our spreadsheet, our Google spreadsheets. And if you, those of us who work with Google spreadsheets, you know that you use Google App Script to, run the code that automates some this thing in it. So you said improvement suggestions. Oh, you even gave me some improvement. Consider adding a clear summary objective statement to the top of the document. Maybe probably like a comment. And use a standard format for listing work experience. Okay, now we're talking about resume. So you said based on the analysis, I will give this resume a score of 40 out of 100. Skill 10%, limited scope, and lack of. So basically, this is not a resume. So I just wanted to show you that it actually detects when it's not a resume and it still breaks down some few informations it could get from it. So it also gave us some visual, the thing. Wow, in experience, it gave me 0. Wow, that's crazy. All right, so quickly let's jump into the code and let's begin to dig in and let me show you how all this came to life. All right, so this is the code part of the project. I'm going to quickly break it down. So before I start, I want to quickly go through the file structure. I created a file called AI Resume Analyzer. Inside the folder, I created a new environment. The reason for creating this new environment is so that there will not be conflicting in the module versions with the modules in my main Python environment and the modules that I'll be using for this project. So to create an environment in Python, you simply use Python hyphen M, then VMV, then the name of the environment, whatever name you want to give it. Here I get my own AI resume together. So it's just, you don't need to touch it after that. Once you do that, you activate it. You just simply by going to saying source, you navigate through the script. So if you go here and navigate to the script, you're going to see activate.bat. So you just simply put it into this place, source, just the way it is on the screen, you do it that way, and you're going to get what you need. So that's that for the virtual environment. Then I created the requirements for this particular project. This whole this whole files are going to be on my GitHub, so you can just go and clone the repository. And when you clone the repository, you just simply do pip install -r requirement.txt so that you can install the whole requirements required for this project, and then you start running the project. So quickly, we have, let me go through this entire project. So first of all, we have the Streamlit. We imported the Streamlit, which we use for the user interface by simply saying import Streamlit as st, which is the reason why we use as st. This st is going to be like easier for us to, write it out. Then we have the Ollama, this part of the code. From Ollama import chat response, and from Ollama import chat. So this will help us, talk to our module. We have import JSON, import fits. Fits is basically used to work on the PDF, analyze the PDF. We have import RE, import Pandas as PD, and import base 64. So all these are what we'll be needing for this project. So quickly we start from this first line where we have st dot set page configuration, page title. This would be virtually be the title of the page icon. So simply how I got my page icon is I went to display the search file thing this and I have an extension called emoji. So under emoji, I quickly search for book. Sorry, I spelled that wrong. Book. So I use this particular emoji um, for my page icon. Then I have my layout to be wide. Why I made it wide so that it will contain the entire browser screen. I have st.title. This will actually be the AI resume analysis to be boldly written. Then I have st.markdown, asterisk, asterisk, If you don't use the markdown tag, you see that it doesn't get to be bold. Then after that, in this markdown, we say upload your resume and get a summary, key skills, score, and improvement suggestion. So that's just virtually what to print out in bold. And then we get to upload our file by just saying file uploader, upload your resume, type PDF. So this will contain the object or the file that we uploaded into it. So when I say if uploaded file, that means if the file is uploaded file dot six o, that's 60, sorry, PDF is equals to fits dot open, stream equals to upload files dot read, file type PDF. So this will virtually just open the file, read the documents in the file, read everything in the file, the pages, the text in the file. So we just simply create a variable that we'll use in storing all the text that get to be read from this PDF by fits. Remember we said earlier, fits is a module in PyMuPDF. So we say for page in PDF from this object, we say page text is equals to page.getText. So extract all the text in the in each of the pages of the PDF, and if page text, that means if there is any text in that page, text dot plus equal to page text plus the next line. So we are just simply appending the text in each of the pages to this particular string variable that we created here that was empty. So obviously when you bring in the text, there might be some little gibberish and extra lines and so on. So this particular line of code is just to help us clean the text, so we'll get a clean text and not mixed words and all this thing. So the next thing is that we are creating column 1 and column 2. So this is just like dividing with column 1 st.subheader. The subheader here is the resume preview. So that's the resume preview you see here. This is it. So then now base 64 PDF. Now normally when you upload this text, the your system or the compiler doesn't really see it the normal way you see the text. How this is a boy, this is a girl, doesn't see it that way. You see it as gibberish. For example, let me open a PDF file. Let me open this Android developer PDF. So this is the way our compiler sees our PDF. If we were just to print it, as in we decide to display the resume preview, this is what we'll be seeing. But when we do this base64.encode this uploaded file dot get value, then dot decode it in UTF-8, this gets to show us what you can actually understand. So this PDF display, we are just going to be using, this particular line is HTML. Some of us that are familiar with HTML, you know that iframe, then the source of the iframe, we're just going to be passing this particular decoded PDF into their iframes. We define the width, the height, and the type of file that it's going to be. So obviously it's going to be a PDF. So this is just what this line does, and then defining this line alone does not make it happen. We have to actually use the st.markdown so that it will actually display in our UI, our user interface. With column 2, that is for the other side where we are going to be doing the main AI analysis. That's why we have st subheader AI analysis. So if st.button analyze resume, that's the button we have on our second side of the column. So with st.spin analyzing resume, so that's why you will see when analyzing the resume is going to be spinning, just like we saw in the beginning of the video. So we now have our prompt. So this prompt is just like, we can say it's a system prompt. This is what you are telling the LLM. This is what you should do. Extract and analyze this resume. If it is a resume, return basic informations like name, email, phone number, um, address, social media handles. And secondly, you should write a short summary of the resume, um, key skills, improvements, and suggestions. Then score out of 100 and explain why based on skill, 30 points, experience and achievement, 30 points, clarity and formatting, 20 points, overall impression, 20 points. Also, return the score JSON, skill X, experience X, clarity X, and then overall X. Now, the reason we did this, you're going to be seeing it under that just to the JSON file, we're going to be using it to create some visualization in the project. So that's what we're going to using the JSON file for. So now after that, we now come down to our Ollama. So if you go to the Ollama documentation, you see that chat response. All you need to do is to pass in the module that you're going to be using for the chat, and then the message that you're going to pass to the chat. So here we're using a very simple module. I'm at 3.2, which is okay for our project. In case you don't have Ollama and you don't have this module installed, but you have Ollama installed, you don't need to worry. All you need to do is when you run the project, make sure you have internet so that the um, Ollama can download the module. It just downloads it once. After that, you don't need to download it again. So the messages that are going to be the role, and it's going to be user, and then the content is going to be the prompt that we initially worked on, which consists the plain text that we are passing to it. So after that, we're going to get the results. We're going to get the result, and then the result, what exactly we're looking for is a response, message, then the content in the message. That will be the exact response from our LLM. So that's what we're going to be extracting. That's what we're going to be using. Now, I remember I told you about, for those who wants to use an API, like OpenAI API or even Ollama API, this is the part of the code where you need to change. When you read the documentation and you understand it, just this part of the code is where you need to change. And then you continue. So now, what we're actually doing here now is that we are dividing our results into two. Remember that we asked our module to give us the score JSON in a JSON format. So this part of the of our result is simply going to be dividing from JSON score. It's going to be divided into two. The up is going to be one part and the down is going to be one part. So the down part, which is the second part, is expected to be in JSON form, which is this form where we have the skill and whatever the module says the skill is, the experience, and so on. So analyze text, that will be the first part. Then we're going to quickly write it to our UI, our user interface. After that, we're now going to start working on the second part. But first of all, we need to be sure that there is a second part. So for us to do that, we'll say if length of parts is greater than 1, that means obviously there are 2 parts. Then we're going to try to do something. We're going to try to match if the result we're getting is like a JSON format. That's what this line of code is doing. It's in a JSON format. If it's in the JSON format, then we're going to load the JSON. We're going to load it. Then when we load the JSON, we're now going to print to our user interface subheading score breakdown. Then we're going to quickly convert our JSON JSON to Pandas data frame. We're going to use a data Pandas to convert it to data frame, where we're going to have categories. Under categories, we're going to have score data.keys, and then under scores, we're going to have score data.values. Remember that our JSON format is always in a dictionary format where we have the keys and the value, so we can call them key value pairs. After that, we're going to use our Streamlit. That's why we have st.bar chart. We're going to use it to form a bar chart. And then we're going to have a subheading that says overall scores. Now, please note this st.bar chart is also going to give us the tabular form. It's going to give us the option of also having it in a tabular form. That's why you will see the button. I'll run the code when we're done again for you to see it. Then we have the subheading, overall score. This is where we have some kind of progressive bar that whatever score it gives the resume over 100. So we're going to do some calculations here to have it display in a progressive bar. Now, if there was no match, that means you didn't see this as a JSON file, then it's going to pop out a warning saying no JSON file found, no JSON found in the module response. So it's as simple as that. Then remember, all this is a trial. So that means if this particular block fails, then it's going to give us a warning saying could not pass score JSON. So whatever the problem that might have happened, the reasons why this particular block, this particular try and except block, this try block didn't work, we are going to be seeing the reason through this particular E that's going to be printed here. That is the error that's going to be, it's going to give us the exact error, the exact reason why our module could not be printed. So that's basically it for this tutorial, for this um, explanation of the code. For us to run the code is very simple. Just say streamlit run main py. Now remember, you must be in the same directory where your um, main.py is, and you must be in the environment that you've created. How do you know you're in the environment you've created? You're going to be seeing this. The name of the environment is going to be in bracket. It might not be green, it might be a different color depending on how you set it. But whatever it is, it must be appearing first before the directory. Make sure that you have the directory before you run the streamlit run main.py. Once you run it, it's going to take you to the user interface. So here we are after running the code. So we simply upload a file. So after uploading our file, this is what we'll get. This is column 1, this is column 2. So in column 2, we're going to have a button that says Analyze Resume. So once we click on this button, then we'll start analyzing this resume. So it's done analyzing the resume. So you can see it extracted all the information in the resume. So this was what I wanted to show you in the visualization. You can actually view it in a table form, or you can view it in a bar chart. So any of them you choose is okay.